Well, if government regulation is the imposter you'd like to get out of your way, wait till you hear what our next guest has to say about that. What happens when a new mayor takes over and starts changing the face of the city? Mayor DeBlasio in New York is doing just that. When you go to Central Park in New York, you hear the clip-clop of hooves around the park, and you see the horse-drawn carriages along the bustling city streets. But the new mayor doesn't like that. He says it's inhumane to make a horse do what it's been doing since the beginning of time. One New York City resident who's all fed up with all that manure is Ryan Gerdusky, and he is here with us today to let us know about it. Ryan, welcome back to Smart Life.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gina.
Absolutely. Now, do you really think, Ryan, that Mayor DeBlasio is such a champion for the rights of the poor horses, or is there something that goes a little deeper here, a little something under those hooves?
Well, this is the first time that I can recall ever, especially a New York City mayor, going out of his way to ban an entire industry. Now, Bloomberg had a lot of push to try to reduce the size of soda, reduce where you can smoke, how much you can, where you can smoke outside and indoors and outdoors, and certain types of bars, and many other things to try to regulate it. But he never went out to attempt to ban an entire way of life and way of living for people. And there's a lot of ideas of why Mayor DeBlasio is trying to do this. There was an organization called New York Class, and they are the biggest promoter of trying to ban horse-drawn carriages and replace them with old-fashioned cars. And one could say, oh, what's the difference of one and the other? But there is a difference, is that there are people who make a living, a professional living, and a decent living, and their entire industry is under threat by the new law, the new regulations of this mayor. And there's also a big contemplation of what will, because all these horses are stored in a very, very pricey real estate area of the west side of Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And what real estate developers will be getting that land and that aerial zoning, because it would be replaced with buildings, and several stories of buildings is hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, possibly. So it's a really, really, really amazing thing to sit there and see, a very progressive mayor saying to some people, no, you cannot work in your respected industries anymore, and we need to ban them outright, not regulate them, but ban them.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a prediction, because I'm clairvoyant like that this is going to be zoned. If this happens, it will be zoned to someone who's made some significant contributions to the mayor and his cronies. How hard is that math to do? Not very hard. I hear, though, Ryan, that the mayor is making other changes in New York City that aren't very popular. Tell us about those.
He's trying to change our driving laws to 25 miles an hour instead of 30 miles an hour. He is, which drives me completely insane, because New York drivers, New York is already hard enough city to get around, let alone cutting the speed rate. I don't know how much that will alleviate traffic, or whether that's a new way for additional fines to be regulated on New York City drivers.
Sure.
But he's attempting to do that, even though his own driver himself has been accused several times of speeding through red lights and stop signs and above, the driving limit. He's also increasing penalties and fines for jaywalking, which is, it's absurd when it comes to, if you want to make the city more cost efficient, there are billions upon billions of ways to do that. But the mayor is very, very, very very strong on promising to give additional leeway to unions, to give back pay to unions, to give new contracts to unions. So the most easy, cost-efficient ways to help alleviate the city's very, very heavy expenses and debt seem to be for the mayor to find the city's people more and more.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. And I know, of course, in our own Los Angeles, a lot of these same things happening. Now you have to have a seatbelt on, not just in the front seat, but you have to have a seatbelt in the back seat. You not only can't smoke in certain places, you can't smoke your vapors in certain places.
Oh, they banned that too in New York. You can't smoke vapors now in bars.
I can't understand how that's constitutional. I really can't understand. It's one of my biggest peeves because it's just the strong hand of big government coming down on the average person out there when there is no harm whatsoever in those vapors, especially for the people who don't even smoke tobacco or nicotine in their vaping pipe like myself. And so I just don't, it's just something to do. It's less offensive than perfume. Next thing you know, they're going to ban perfume. They're going to, well, we've already mixed up the girls' and boys' bathrooms here in California. Do you have any legislation like that happening on that coast?
We don't have that, but we are following San Francisco's pattern, and we are looking at taxing plastic bags you get at the grocery store.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we love to do that in the name of environmentalism, of course.
Which is like really 10 cents per plastic bag. And, you know, it's all in the best of intention, allegedly, but you will be forced to care. That is the Democrats' theme for the 21st century so far, is you will be forced to care.
Let me ask you, though, how is that not imposing someone's morality on people? I really don't get that, because isn't that their morality? What if that's not my morality? What if my morality says, hey, this environmentalism we hear about all the time is really poor business quality, costs businesses tons and tons of money, and oh, by the way, does more harm to the environment than good? We've proven that. What else has to happen?
Right. Well, the thing is, and there was Rosto That had an amazing column on this in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago, and he said that it's not that liberals necessarily are against morality. It's just that they're for their morality, you know, and it's just that, and it's not a matter of them being, you know, completely secular. It's that they're liars, and they're liars because they sell secularism, but they're really pushing for their own version of morality, which is the morality of environmentalism, of gender neutral. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the word. Gender neutrality. They're pushing on all those things because you will be forced to care about their opinions. Now, it's very, very rare outside certain sectors of certain states that you will find the right pushing such things. I mean, the right will care more often about business opportunity than promoting, Christian values or what have you.
Well, Ryan, we'll continue to watch these regulations. I think the name of the game for the citizens out there is, if it's a regulation, just say no. Just fight the regulations. Don't worry about, if you don't have all your philosophical underpinning perfectly in place. Just fight the regulations, fight the size of government. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us. We always appreciate having you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gina.
All right, my friend. Take care of that great city.